A city on the verge of greatness. A new type of city, based not on the man, but on the automobile.
Welcome to Wolf Media. My name is TJ, and today we're looking at 10 incredible games that I personally believe deserved a sequel, but for some reason they didn't get one. Let's get into it. Sleeping Dogs.
Must be a very dangerous man, Wei Shen.
Let's start with a game that's basically GTA in China. Sleeping Dogs is a 2012 action-adventure game developed by United Front Games and published by Square Enix. The game was released for PlayStation 3, Windows, and Xbox 360 in August 2012. You play as Wei Shen, an undercover cop infiltrating the triads in Hong Kong. Instead of just driving around and shooting things, this game gave us an incredible brutal martial arts combat system, a gripping story about loyalty, and an atmosphere that felt alive. It sold decently, but Square Enix deemed it a failure. Days Gone.
Until they're dead.
Days Gone had a rough launch, and we all know it. It was buggy, and critics gave it a pretty lukewarm reception. But if you played this game after a few patches, you know it turned into an absolute banger. Days Gone is a 2019 action-adventure video game developed by Bend Studio and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It is set in a post-apocalyptic Oregon, 2 years after the start of a pandemic that turned a portion of humanity into vicious zombie-like creatures. The motorcycle mechanics felt heavy and rewarding, and managing a literal horde of 500 zombies running at you at full speed was some of the most stressful fun you could have on a PS4. The game ended on a massive cliffhanger that changed the entire lore of the virus, but Sony looked at the initial Metacritic score, panicked, and passed on the sequel. Sunset Overdrive. Before Insomniac Games became the Spider-Man studio, they made Sunset Overdrive for the Xbox One, and honestly, it might be one of the most underrated open-world games of the last decade. Sunset Overdrive is a 2014 action-adventure video game developed by Insomniac Games and published by Microsoft Studios. The game is set in 2027 in a fictional metropolis called Sunset City. It was colorful, completely self-aware, and the traversal system was elite. If you weren't grinding on rails or bouncing off cars, you were doing it wrong. The gunplay was completely absurd, but because it launched as an exclusive on a struggling Xbox One back in 2014, it never got the massive audience it needed. Now that Sony owns Insomniac, the rights are in limbo, and Sunset Overdrive 2 is nothing but a fever dream. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
You're batshit insane!
The memes have kept this game alive for over a decade, but let's be real. Metal Gear Rising is a top-tier action game, developed by Platinum Games and published by Konami. It was released for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 in February 2013, Windows and OS X in January and September 2014, and Nvidia Shield TV in January 2016. Platinum Games took a stealth franchise and turned it into a high-octane cyborg slicing hack-and-slash simulator. The blade mode mechanic, where you could literally chop enemies into 100 pieces in slow motion, still feels unmatched today. With Konami and Hideo Kojima parting ways, the franchise has been dormant, but a sequel following Raiden's chaotic justice is something the hack-and-slash genre desperately needs. The Order 1886.
Galahad, acknowledge. This is command.
I read you, Percival.
The Order 1886 was heavily criticized when it dropped in 2015 because it was essentially a 5-hour movie with some quick-time events. People felt ripped off for $60. The Order 1886 is a 2015 action-adventure video game developed by Ready at Dawn and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation 4. An alternate steampunk Victorian London where Knights of the Round Table fight werewolves with electricity guns. The lore was incredible, and even today, the graphics hold up against modern games. The Order didn't need to be cancelled. It just needed a sequel that opened up the world, fixed the pacing, and gave us actual gameplay. L.A. Noire.
Young boys, Valdez.
Are you a madman?
L.A. Noire is a 2011 action-adventure game developed by Team Bondi and published by Rockstar Games. L.A. Noire was a massive gamble for Rockstar. They used groundbreaking facial animation tech to let players read suspects' expressions during interrogations. Sure, sometimes Cole Phelps would completely overreact when you press doubt. But investigating crime scenes in a beautifully recreated 1940s Los Angeles was incredibly immersive. Team Bondi, the studio behind it, dissolved shortly after release due to a messy development cycle. Rockstar still owns the IP, but they've been a bit busy with GTA 6. A sequel set in 1950s New York or Chicago would be an instant buy. Star Wars Republic Commando.
You have been born into dangerous times.
Long before Disney took over, LucasArts gave us Star Wars Republic Commando. This wasn't a game about space wizards waving lightsabers. It was a gritty tactical shooter about a squad of clone commandos on the front lines of the Clone Wars. Star Wars Republic Commando is a 2005 tactical first-person shooter video game developed and published by LucasArts for the Xbox and Microsoft Windows. The squad mechanics were seamless, the atmosphere was dark, and the chemistry between the clones made you genuinely care about them. The game ends on a brutal cliffhanger where you're forced to leave a squad member behind. A sequel called Imperial Commando was actually planned, but it was cancelled during a shift in LucasArts' corporate strategy. The Simpsons Hit and Run.
This one isn't poisonous to anybody
That we know of.
If you grew up in the early 2000s, this was your Grand Theft Auto. The Simpsons Hit and Run is pure, unadulterated nostalgia. The Simpsons Hit and Run is a 2003 action-adventure game developed by Radical Entertainment and published by Vivendi Universal Games. It is based on the American animated sitcom The Simpsons, and is the 22nd installment in the Simpsons series of video games. It took the layout of Springfield, packed it full of references for die-hard fans, and gave us surprisingly solid driving mechanics and mission design. It is widely considered one of the best licensed games ever made. Licensing issues between EA, Activision, and Fox have kept this game locked in a vault for decades. We don't just want a remaster, we want a full-blown sequel with modern open-world mechanics. Bully.
I've got a man to make happy.
Speaking of Rockstar, how has Bully not received a sequel yet? Released back in 2006, it traded the guns and crime syndicate of GTA for firecrackers, skateboards, and high school cliques. Playing as Jimmy Hopkins, navigating the social hierarchy of Bulworth Academy was brilliant. It had so much charm, a killer bass-heavy soundtrack, and a world that felt distinct. There have been countless rumors over the years that Bully 2 was in development and then cancelled, or that script writing was finished. Whatever the case is, school is back in session, and we need Rockstar to deliver. Bloodborne.
But first, you'll need a contract.
You all knew this was coming. The internet's collective coping mechanism for the last 10 years, Bloodborne. Bloodborne is a 2015 action role-playing game developed by From Software and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation 4. From Software took their Dark Souls formula, stripped away the shields, injected Victorian cosmic horror into its veins, and created a masterpiece. The aggressive combat system, the trip weapons, the atmosphere, it's flawless. Fans have been begging for a 60 FPS patch, a PC port, or a sequel for an eternity. Sony owns the IP. From Software is busy making massive open worlds, and we're left sitting here in the dark, waiting for a hunt that might never come again. And that's her list. But I want to hear from you. Which game on the list hurts the most to think about? Or did I leave out a masterpiece that desperately needs a part 2? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button and subscribe to Wolf Media so you don't miss the next one. We're just getting started here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.